Welcome to another episode of the Activate CX podcast, where we demystify and clarify the direction of CX. My name is Frank Rogers. I'm your host, and I help brands grow with better CX, AI, and self-service. Today, we dive into unpacking RingCX Contact Center with our special guest, Bob Lenarcik at RingCentral. Let's go. The contact center ecosystem has an interesting blend of key players. Some are represented by decades-old industry stalwarts and leaders, and others represent new technologies that were born in the cloud. All are being stretched to innovate and lead. And as omnichannel becomes a standard, AI and self-service take front and center when it comes to being top of mind. And by all means, the way that they differentiate themselves in the market. In this regard, it becomes increasingly difficult to sort out the details of these differences and why you should select one over the other. To address how and why RingCentral is introducing a new contact center, now that's RingCX, we have special guest Bob Lenarcik. He's a senior CX engineer at RingCentral. And so let's welcome Bob to the show. Hey, Bob.
Hi, Frank. How are you?
Hey, I'm doing super well. Let's just kind of get right down into it. Why does RingCX fit? And so I just want to say, today's market is highly competitive. The landscape is challenging, and contact center players, above all, play a critical role in shaping customer engagement and satisfaction. We know this. Contact center is a funny word. It should really almost be CX center. And businesses are constantly seeking innovative solutions that can help them differentiate and thrive in what is now becoming a digital economy. I already mentioned it. There's a solid number of modern contact center offerings for people to consider. It's a lot, all with different lineage, all in the cloud now, all touting AI, some focused on large enterprises, some on the mid-market and SMB space. So Bob, I'm going to ask, why RingCX now as this new offering from RingCentral, and who does it serve? What does it bring to the table?
So it's a lot to unpack there.
It is.
Well, first of all, RingCentral, is one of the market leaders when it comes to the UC platform that we sell. Believe it or not, I saw a stat saying that RingCentral ranks number 4 in the CX space for a cloud contact center. And as you may know, that we actually have an OEM relationship with NICE CX1. So we've had that relationship for quite a few years now. And what we've decided is, what we looked at is that there's a lot of market opportunities where we just don't even play in, because there's a lot of organizations that don't need the level of sophistication and advanced features that the RingCentral Contact Center platform brings to the table, along with its higher price point. So we found that there was just a lot of opportunities where the pricing was just too rich, even if we were to go to the most basic tier of the licensing. So 4 years ago, we purchased 2 companies. One was a cloud-based contact center for voice. The other one was a cloud-based contact center for digital. And for the last few years, we were selling those as point solutions for customers that needed a very specific use case, like heavy outbound dialer, only voice, or only digital because they either didn't need voice or they had something that it was going to take years before they got off that contract, or they amortize the physical assets if it was a prem-based system. So we had those as point solutions, but we didn't lead with them because they were disparate point solutions for those environments that needed it. So we started the project of combining the 2 platforms together, and that became RingCX. And so we are pricing it very aggressively to basically hit that sweet spot in the market between the very basic voice-only call queues that we have in our MVP or UC platform, as well as what customers are doing today with traditional prem-based contact centers. They're really good at doing voice and not much more. And then on the higher end, we've got, the nice CX1 platform that we OEM for RingCentral Contact Center.
It's interesting, Bob. Like many times when we're looking at, unpacking the customer journey and the user stories for a client, we may start in the unified communication space, and then all of a sudden, more nuanced requirements around how this routes to particular people inside the organization, especially customer-facing people, starts to surface. All of a sudden, now there's really a need for an ACD, a little bit more of a elaborate IVR, and the choice now is going from a UC platform over here to a contact center platform, and a lot of times it's a leap. It's a leap in terms of complexity, and it's a leap in terms of cost. Are you saying that RingCX fits in the middle of that? It makes that step into contact center maybe a little bit of a shorter step and a faster step?
Yeah, the one of the goals of the product is to basically be very easy to manage, quick to spin up. We made it so that acquiring a brand new number and pointing it to a IVR or a voice queue takes 5 to 10 minutes max to spin up something. Digital, same thing. We just basically just point to which channel we want to bring in. We support over 20 digital channels, so email, SMS, chat, social, and all those. Very easy. You just connect up the channel, point it to a queue, and you're good to go. Obviously, you can build more sophisticated rules around how to route, how the voice queue is handled when a call is waiting for an agent or calling for an agent. So, but it was intended to be an easy to spin up system, easy to manage, and obviously easy for the agent to work with.
Once you combine these two together, then you really worked on experience inside the platform.
Yeah, and the fact that RingCX is new to the market, but the platforms that it, leverages on the historical side has been in the market for years. So it's not a new product from a feature richness and capability. And we've, proven it. We've got customers running the platform today as RingCX, as well as existing customers on the legacy voice and digital versions of that.
Okay. And so this marketplace that it fits out there, would you say that that's a marketplace that's looking for a unified communications and a contact center solution that they can put on a single piece of paper?
Yeah, we actually have customer data from our relationship with the NICE platform. We say it's an OEM relationship because we've done a lot to integrate our voice networks together and integrate our UC plus the contact center's functionality. So things like presence sync between agents and non-agents, being able to transfer calls easily between the two platforms without incurring usage costs. Those kinds of things have proven real value, real ROIs for our customers. And so again, RingCX does even more because we own the technology 100%. So that makes it that integration and that leverage of the two platforms together to give you that simple, easy to manage environment, as well as being able to, I'm an agent, I have a difficult question to get an answer to, and I could easily bridge somebody in who's not in the contact center, either message them directly or conference them in. It becomes much easier and lower effort from an agent's perspective.
Okay, well, let's start to maybe dig in a little bit to the platform. We know that businesses strive to provide exceptional customer experiences. The importance of omnichannel capabilities in this cannot be overstated. This is where we meet people where they are. And without a doubt, today's customers expect seamless interactions across multiple channels. And businesses are increasingly aware of the need to deliver a consistent and integrated experience across the customer journey. That being said, most companies are still very voice-centric with email and some chat, and omnichannel is just kind of really hitting its stride. So with RingCX, how do you approach omnichannel, and how deep are these channel options?
Well, it's funny because a couple of years ago, digital or the non-voice channels were kind of considered to be add-ons. There was a lot of point solutions out in the market, a lot of companies that just had, a solution that solved for that need. And then what we see happening in the market is that these players are buying each other up, they're consolidating, or they're developing the technology natively. So it's now become every conversation we have with our customers is about omnichannel, right?
That's right.
Again, we want to be able to see the different ways that customer had contacted you as an organization, so the agent can basically see that history, have access to that information, so you don't have to rehash the customer's previous interactions on a phone call if they've sent emails or chats in before. So we make it so that from an agent perspective, it's very easy to see all that and also be able to handle multiple interactions concurrently.
How does that look inside of the UI? Is that something that you can kind of share?
So what I have here is I have an active inbound voice call that came in, and you can see here I've got the expected call control options to transfer, requeue the call, set a disposition, mute, hold, and so on. So for example, like transferring a call, if I want to transfer a call to a non-agent, I just hit the transfer, find someone, and I have presence information from the corporate directory. Very easy to do that. In addition to having the expected call controls, I have on the far right side a contact card. So it's a CRM Lite type of functionality that allows me to see all the different identities of the caller. So I can see, in this case, I've got multiple contact types that I've added into the system here. So whenever a contact comes in, regardless of all these different channels, it'll automatically pop this record up. And then I can see call history, interactions, and get a complete view of all the different ways this customer's previously interacted with someone. And if, for example, a customer comes in on an unknown identity, doesn't match up to an existing customer card, I can easily find and match the identity. So now I can bring in all that contact history of that other identity with the one I'm working with. And now again, 360-degree view of the customer's interactions.
That's outstanding. And so with inside of this UI, you're able to see email interactions, chat interactions, voice interactions, and you can look at the history of what those are. You could listen to recordings, but more importantly, as you're engaged with that particular customer, you can disposition whatever the outcome was of that particular meeting and engagement. And ultimately, I would imagine that how they get to you here too is, driven by the ACD and the IVR that's part of the package.
Yeah, and again, I can point a number directly to a voice queue, so I don't necessarily have to have an IVR. But if we do, we have an IVR studio, allows me to drag and drop the actions, and then we support both DTMF as well as voice recognition. So I can say or press 1 for sales, say, or press 2 for support, and so on. So it makes it very easy to do that with the system. So let me send in a chat session. So here I have a chat, and for digital, we actually have the system set up so that when you route into the platform, I can use content of the actual inbound message to determine how I route. So in this case, I just said, "Hi, Bob," and it routes to a general queue because I don't have any other content that allows me to match it to one of the other demo queues I've built out here. But in this case here, I've got the ability to edit my message, send the responses in. I have the ability to do quick replies and so on. But we also have a very nice feature where I have a digital interaction with a live customer. So we call that a synchronous communication channel. Email would be asynchronous, right? There's going to be long delays between those interactions. But in this case, I've got a customer doing a live chat, but if I want, I can do a one-click instant escalate to video. So we leverage the RingCentral video capability. So now as an agent, all I have to do is click the send invitation. It sends a URL to the customer via the chat session, and the agent is immediately put into a video call. And then as soon as the customer clicks on the link, they're linked in.
That's
We
incredible.
also,
So we have channel elevation
yes.
directly built into the process already.
And also, we can also initiate the request for a video call from the customer side. So notice here, there's a little button that says request a video call. So it now allows the agent to get that inbound request coming in from the customer. So it makes that transition to a different modality very, very seamless.
And Bob, can you record that video call and have that recording and the transcripts of that video call be assigned to that specific engagement?
Yes, we support call recording. And then what is also available is when I'm on my voice call. So I still have that voice call active. When I end that call, we have the ability to set dispositions, but we also have AI that builds a summary of the call based on what was heard. So in this case, because I had muted both sides, there was no recording actually that could be used here. But the idea is that it provides that summary. So now that's saved with that information about the call. We also have another tool that is an add-on for the RingCX platform. It's called RingSense for CX. And we can talk about that a little bit more in detail later.
Wonderful. That's outstanding. I really like the UI. It's very clean. And I love the fact that everything is one place. Voice, all the human channels, all the digital channels. So let's maybe segue a little bit into another topic, kind of back to AI, and trying to understand a little bit about how AI and RingCX align. Artificial intelligence and self-service solutions have gained obviously immense traction. The majority of the mind share and topic discussions are about AI. And that is no different with inside of the contact center industry. Like I said before, these topics are at the top of the marquee, and businesses recognize the potential of AI and self-service to transform their customer service and empower customers to find answers quickly. But with all of its promise, we could probably agree, vastly misunderstood in terms of its application. And most providers tout their AI capabilities to boot. And you are no different. Can you provide some insights maybe into what AI comes out of the box with RingCX and what possible options one could have in extending the AI capabilities?
So yeah, AI is an extremely broad term because there's a lot of technologies that are kind of rolled up under that label. And there's like three general categories of AI. There's generative AI, which is what ChatGPT is kind of democratized and made everybody aware of, even the consumer who never looked at the technology before. Then there's conversational AI, which is where you have a chat bot or a voice bot that allows a customer to basically communicate back and forth with the machine, and it'll use natural language understanding and natural language processing to translate what I'm saying into something that the bot can respond to. And those are very useful for things like all heavily repetitive type of interactions that an agent typically deals with. Where's my order? I need to renew my prescription. Those types of things are something that bots are very, very well designed to do. And in the platform, we actually have easy integration to bot technologies. So we can integrate with Google Dialogflow,
Okay.
as well as Cognigy. So those are both very well known and very well developed and very powerful AI bot tools. In addition to the generative AI, conversational AI, there's also something called conversation intelligence, which is something that we've decided that is a probably an underutilized area of the AI, portfolio of technologies, which is where we're helping agents become better at their jobs. Because ultimately, when it comes down to it, regardless of how good of an AI bot you may have, customers sometimes will run into situations where it's not going to be built to handle their question. They need to get to a live person. I know, talking to friends and other people who are not in this space, that how many times have you had to say representative when you're on a voice bot calling in, or you're on a chat, you keep saying the same thing, and you finally get routed to a live person. So the idea is with RingSense and some of the tools we've partnered with, It allows us to build the ability for agents to get better insight in terms of how well they're doing, as well as their managers.
And you're talking really principally about things like agent support. So while they're in the midst of that call, the AI is reviewing the conversation, and based upon what is being discussed is offering insights or assistance to the agent in that conversation.
Yeah, so we have through our RingSense platform, we're going to be offering, in addition to the summaries I showed you, but we're also going to provide things like real-time transcripts while the agent's on that call.
Mhm.
But then RingSense itself, the powerful piece of that is a post-call analytics or post-interaction analytics tool that provides a lot of detail in terms of how well did the agent perform. Where did they have a positive overall sentiment during the conversation? Did they have good energy? Did they interrupt the caller?
When it comes to the AI pieces about Cognigy and dialogue flow, I would imagine that part of your professional services teams can work with the client.
Cognigy and dialogue flow are independent solutions that a customer would subscribe to, and those are usage based, right? You pay based on how often customers actually leverage that. In our platform, you set up the link, and then you basically say on this digital channel, I'm going to check a box that says I'm going to handle this with a bot as the first point of response to the inbound message.
Okay.
Now we will not necessarily build out those intents and the responses and so on. That's where we could leverage partners like yourselves and other consultants to help the customer with that if they don't have the expertise on staff.
So if we're looking at the call flow, and if the call flow calls for sending a customer down a different path, and that is a digital path. So we're going to try and work with deflection. We now put them into this bot. If the bot experience requires movement back to an agent, we can reroute them back into RingCX to be escalated to that live agent.
Yeah, and even if you don't use a bot to handle some of these low value, high volume type of interactions, which you sometimes run into, we do use AI categorization and routing. So we look at the content of the message and then basically say, okay, well, based on what's written in the message, the digital message, we can now decide how to route it to the right queue. So for example, I can have a single email channel on the platform, one email address, and then based on what the customer writes, I will route it to, let's say, billing or customer service or sales based on the question content. So we use AI for that routing, which then again, is one of the biggest frustrations when it comes to a customer reaching out to a business is, how do I get to the right person who has the right expertise to handle my question? And these days with agents being asked to do more with less, many agents are actually being tasked to be able to handle more than just one specific type of call. And so how do you empower an agent? One of the things that RingCX brings to the table is we have an embedded knowledge base feature so that I can now have articles written that'll help an agent, and they're context sensitive. So we can essentially say, based on what channel, what queue the call came in on, or the interaction came in on, it'll pop records or in the knowledge base that are relevant to that. Makes it very easy for the agent to either send that content back or just, type it out themselves if they need to.
So besides skills-based routing, we have AI-based routing that interrogates the communications coming in across all channels.
Correct. You basically look at, what's the content, and then how am I going to categorize that content based on, what I find in there, what I'm looking for. And then I decide based on the category, how do I route it to the right queue, and therefore the right agents.
Well, I feel like some of this conversation is automatically queuing up the conversation of what is RingSense. So it seems like it covers a few areas, and I'm not 100% sure as to if it's a different module, if it's a different application, or if it's a subset of RingCX. Maybe you can unpack this RingSense topic a little bit more and maybe do a little bit of a show and tell as to how that looks to the end user.
Sure. So RingSense is a platform It's an AI platform that
Okay.
is our intellectual property, and we basically started rolling out the first capabilities of it in our RingCentral video solution. So we had rolled this out a little over a year ago, where you can do things like automatic summaries, full transcripts, and some other capabilities that are just baked into now RingCentral Video. So we introduced RingSense for Sales a few months ago, which is a
Mm,
tool that is designed to basically capture video calls, RingCentral Video, as well as any audio calls by sales reps, so that we now can take that information about that call related to a customer journey, and then get analytics around it. And it had one unique feature in it, that it also captured information about the deal. So for example, in the course of a typical sales process, I may have, 10, 12 different calls, video calls, demos, and so on, involving different people on the sales team. So I can capture all of that information, aggregate that, and understand exactly where we are in the deal, what phase of the deal cycle, how much is the deal worth, and then be able to look across those different conversations related to that opportunity and say, okay, what was transpired during this conversation, what was done during this one. So now that with RingCX on the market, we have a flavor of RingSense out there called RingSense for CX. So this is tailored to the customer service, the customer experience type of scenarios, where it's more support, having questions, rather than specifically sales focus. And so I can certainly show you what that looks like, what the tool provides in terms of the output from it. So
yeah,
let
let's
me
take a look.
pull up my screen.
Yeah.
So one thing to point out here, when we were looking at the agent tool, I didn't show that when you have RingSense enabled on the platform, and by the way, it's an add-on tool, so it's not native to the solution when you get the license for the agents. But if you want to add it on, it's a very cost-effective tool, and it does address, like you mentioned, quality management, that becoming, how well are my agents performing? Are they doing a good job? And so on. And the traditional way of doing that is you have someone review a sample of recordings. So I have, let's say an agent takes maybe 100 plus calls a day. And over the course of a week, that's 500 calls. And if I have a supervisor managing 10 people, that's a lot of calls to go through. So most quality management solutions that are in the market today look at a sampling of those calls and present them to the supervisor or the evaluator to look at. They listen to the entire recording and then fill out a form to say, did the agent, greet the customer properly? Did they, offer an upsell type of thing? So they have to go through and listen for these things. And it takes a lot of time to do that. Well, RingSense is what we're calling a quality management light type solution, because it's designed to let AI handle a lot of that. And it looks at 100% of the interactions versus just a sampling. And again, when it's turned on for the RingCX system, then it's just a single click to access the RingSense UI. And here I'm showing the view when you first launch, and it shows me a view of all the calls. And then I have columns that show who the participants are, a score that AI has gone through and listened to that recording and said, okay, what am I looking for? And how well did the employees perform? So I'm looking at both, not only the participants, but also who are the employees, the agents in this case, how did they do? We're really not paying attention to what the customer's saying or doing just yet. And so I'm going to look at some calls that scored highly. So I have a bunch of calls that scored an 8. And if I highlight over that, it shows me what the AI saw. It said, okay, the agent was engaging. They provided options for rescheduling. They explained the registration process. So this is a call coming into our healthcare vertical in our demo system. So this now is looking for things that are related to that. And if I click on the call, I'll get a summary along with what topics were covered. Again, this is generated by AI. AI coaching basically says this is some things that the agent did well. These are the areas the agent needs to improve upon. So if I had a low score call, it would show things that would be things that the agent should be looking to improve upon. And then we have the ability to create trackers. So we can do trackers based on keywords, or we can say concept. The concept is, properly greeting the customer, making sure we're building rapport, things like that. So those are pre-built AI models in the system, and you can decide which ones you want to look for and tag or identify in those calls. And you can see here that when we reach a segment in the call or the recording where that tracker was identified, I can actually just click on the play button and go directly to that part of the call. So again, it saves me time from having to listen to the entire recording. If I go to call details, it gives me a lot more information, including what AI used to evaluate the score of the call. So these are the components: energy, talk time, monologuing, filler words, patience, engaging questions. And this provides, again, the ability for me to drill into different segments of the call. I can provide manual feedback in addition to what the AI coach found. I can add comments. The scorecarding that allows me to do what I was just describing, the traditional questions that I respond with: how well did they handle this particular aspect of the call. And it also provides some highlights, and I can also add manual highlights. And again, anywhere where something is picked out as segment of the call, I can easily, quickly get to that. There's a lot more to it from a management perspective, but this gives you a little bit of a taste for what RingSense provides. And again, this is our AI-based product. RingSense is a post-interaction solution. And the one thing that's also interesting about this is that one of the challenges with most interactions, most contact centers, is documenting what was in the call, what was in the interaction. RingSense automates that by basically allowing us to integrate with different CRM systems. So now I can take all this information and decide to map that into things like fields within Salesforce. So they can automatically integrate and push that information into let's say a case or a task associated with that contact in the CRM.
Is there any type of sentiment analysis with this, or is it more based around keywords?
Sentiment analysis, I don't have that enabled on the system that I'm showing you right now, but that's one of the differentiators between the RingSense for Sales and the RingSense for CX, where we have things like customer sentiment and or things related to a support type of interaction versus a sales type motion. So right now I'm showing you voice and video. We are going to be delivering a digital integration as well. So we'll be able to take those interactions, the email thread, the chat thread, pull that information into RingSense, and then also provide the similar type of analytics.
Well, you mentioned Salesforce, and maybe that's a good segue. Like, can you share how RingCentral and RingCX is approaching WFM, these integrations, providing APIs to make the product more extensible?
So we targeted the market for RingCX to be in the 50 agent range. And that's right at the threshold where workforce management starts to have a good ROI. But we don't have workforce management integrated in the product. That's where RingCentral Contact Center through NICE has a very tightly integrated solution for things like forecasting and all that. But we do see the need that there are customers that are going to be in that need for a workforce management solution. So we've partnered with Calabrio for that, so they can deliver a full QM, WFM, WFO solution. We've also worked with them so that we would basically be able to quote that on our bill and put that on our bill. So basically we'd have our own ability to deliver a single bill to the customer for the WFM solution through Calabrio. Another area from an integration perspective is with Balto, which provides real-time behavioral coaching for agents. So it goes above and beyond what I mentioned we're going to be providing out of the box. So again, Balto is another integration partner that we've put on our price list and can bill the customer singly on our paper. So it makes it very easy to add those capabilities, without much effort on that side.
And that really rounds out the contact center offering.
Right. So again, it goes the gamut from how my agents doing in real time, what kind of things I can give to the agents to give them coaching basically. And then, when it comes to scheduling larger numbers of agents, handling the fact that some people are out sick and you need to make sure that you've got enough coverage and those types of things, that's where Calabrio really comes into play. And then again, they have a more traditional quality management solution that allows you to do that sampling of recordings and evaluate the performance. In addition to that, we have a full API set, so that if you go to developers.ringcentral.com, you'll see all the different APIs that we make available to our customers at no cost. We don't charge to access the APIs. So if you go into that page, we have a section for RingCX, and you have different APIs for the voice versus digital and so on. And we have developer guides, references, and so on. So it becomes very easy to go in and look at the different APIs by just browsing through, and you've got ability to do things like, routing, dialing, authentication, actually do things like even like user management and so on.
Yeah, that's really outstanding. So, and I would imagine that besides these APIs, the reports that you have within inside of the application, can you schedule any of those reports to be sent to people, or to send that data maybe to an S3 bucket or somewhere along those lines where that stuff can be picked up? How does that work with inside the platform?
Yeah, one of the challenges of contact centers is you can build the best workflows or call flows and interaction flows, but if you can't get information about how well things are performing, what's the KPIs that are important to your organization, if you can't get the reports, then the contact center is not going to really give you everything you need. So we've built a real-time dashboard, so I can build widget-based dashboards very easily and share them with others, put them on a screen in the contact center space in the office. We also have over 200 pre-built templates for both real-time historical dashboards as well as historical reports.
Wow.
And then they're fully customizable, and then I can schedule those to be sent depending on the actual data. I can either send them as an Excel file or a CSV file or a PDF. And then we have APIs that allow us to pull the data directly out and integrate with like a Power BI tool or some other solution that allows me to integrate with other business data.
So you talked about Salesforce and maybe some of these other CSMs that are out there as well. We looked at the UI initially when we were talking about omnichannel, and we know that that's one option for a UI for the agent. But then another option is that perhaps those agents are working with inside of a Salesforce or a ServiceNow or a Zendesk, and they need to have a single pane of glass. Where does RingCX play into that user?
So we understand that there's a lot of customer environments where they live in the CRM. So right now we have Salesforce as well as Zendesk embedded agents available. So I'm showing my Zendesk information here, and I'm just going to launch the embedded agent, and it's going to tell me that I need to log out of my other agent interface. And then once it's launched, I can now basically just use the embedded agent to handle the calls. Call comes in, recognize the phone number, screen pop to the contact record. When the call is over, we memorialize the data about the call, the disposition, and some other elements based on how you want to record that interaction. So right now, we are showing voice and digital are for both Salesforce and Zendesk are coming, and then we've got Dynamics, Zoho, HubSpot, and other CRMs on the roadmap to be delivered early next year through the middle of next year. So we're basically using customer feedback in terms of what CRMs we see in the market that are being the most asked for.
Outstanding. And at the same time, looking to build that channel flow between the two applications as well. So
right. So all the routing rules in terms of how you get the interaction to the agent will work on the back end, and then essentially when the interaction gets routed to the agent, they're using the embedded agent experience within their CRM. It will pop that information into this space, and then it'll pull up the contact record in the CRM. And again, the memorialization will happen. And then RingSense also has the ability to push that information that it found on the analytics of the recording into the CRM as well.
Outstanding. So it's memorialized as an activity and searchable inside of the CRM, as well as also being inside of the contact center as well.
Right. And then the analytics adds just another layer of detailed information that you can get about that interaction. And again, your single source of truth would be your CRM. So in addition to having integrations to different CRMs like Salesforce and Zendesk, we've been asked to, what about Teams, Microsoft Teams? Every organization that we talk to these days seems to have some level of commitment to using Teams as their UC platform. So like the embedded dialer that we recently introduced for our UC solution, we're going to be delivering an embedded agent experience for Teams. So it'll be just another add-on in the left toolbar of your Teams client. And you'll be able to log on and interact just like I was showing you earlier with the agent.
That's outstanding. I mean, that essentially is a critical component, we know, because so many organizations are Microsoft centric and they have a huge investment there. But we know that the Microsoft communications componentry is not at the enterprise grade level that RingCentral offers. Essentially, RingCentral, RingCX hits the ground running. And I just want to thank you, Bob, for going through this first stage of unpacking. I think we'll probably come back to this again and maybe take a deeper dive in some of the other areas.
Yeah, definitely. It's like I said, designed to be easy to use, easy to consume, but there's a lot of capability built into the platform. So it's not feature light, even though we are calling it a lighter weight contact center solution for a lot of customers.
That is clear. Thanks, Bob.
Thank you.
There you have it. Even though there are a solid number of industry leaders, RingCentral introduces an affordable contact center solution that provides for fast configuration and speed to market. Two important things. There's an obvious need for those attributes in particular. And the question is this a starter contact center? A mid-range contact center between a UC offering and an enterprise offering, or something that is great for small to medium-sized teams? Perhaps the answer is D, all of the above. Regardless, it's backed by world-class carrier network. That's big. It provides for a one-stop UC and contact center purchase. That's helpful. And it seems to have some serious steam when it comes to integrating with key enterprise apps. When you look at a small contact center need, perhaps RingCX should be evaluated in that mix with some of the usual suspects, like a dial pad or a Zoom or a talk desk, just to name a few. Thanks for watching all the way to the end. This has been a great show. Please remember to like and subscribe to our channel. And remember, if you want to be successful, let's go get it.